Growing up, I was into music. I really was. My mother tells me that I had to be about 2 years old, and I would go around the house just singing this one particular song, Delta Dawn. We're talking about 1971, 72, 73. So I would just go around singing that song. And when she told me that, I didn't find it shocking or unusual because of the lyrics of the song. I think I was always a lyricist. I don't think. I know that I was created to be a lyricist. And so songs and lyrics are very important to me. Melodies are very important to me. So by the time I got 4 years old, one of my Saturday morning rituals was watching Soul Train. And my favorite part of Soul Train was when the performers for that week would perform, and Don Cornelius would interview them. I would love to hear about the background making of the song and who did what and who wrote the lyrics and who did the music. That was exciting for me. I loved that knowledge. And so after Soul Train would go off, I would do my own little Soul Train episode. And one particular day, I'm saying I'm around 4 years old. I might be 5, but I remember I'm living in Freeport, Long Island, New York, and we are in an apartment building that's right across the street from the Long Island Railroad train station. And I decided that this particular Saturday, I'm going to write a song. Now, I'm 4 years old, 5 years old, so I don't know how to spell many different words. But I know how to spell the words I love you. And that was the whole song. I had this little pad that I wrote in with a red ink pen, y'all, because that's the only pen I could find. And I wrote the words I love you so many times on that piece of paper. And I vocally arranged everything. I came up with a melody, and I added inflections, and I did riffs, probably a 4-year-old riff, if you will, and I wrote a song. I closed up the notebook, I hid it in a dresser drawer, and I don't know how many minutes later, I don't know if it was an hour later, but I went back to the drawer, I retrieved the notebook, and I saw the words. They were still there. And I could still hear the same arrangement that I gave it, the same inflections. I was excited. I was excited to the point that I remember looking out the window, like towards the Long Island Railroad train station, train tracks, and I said, I am a songwriter. It was so just matter of fact. And with all confidence, I said this. And in my belly, I can remember in my belly, like, knowing that this is a fact. And it was years later. In fact, I'd say in the last 10 years, when God reminded me of that day, that moment, when I said that, because I got to believe that I was probably questioning, like, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, God, what am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing? And God taking me back to that moment when I said to my little self, I am a songwriter. And that gave me what I needed for that moment, because that wasn't by happen chance. That day didn't happen just because I was playing playtime as a little girl. No, God was revealing what he put in me to do for him. And those things that we do for God, that's what fulfills us, right? His relationship with him pouring into us, and then us pouring that back out, that's what fulfills us. And it also helps to fulfill other people. So it's important. It's not a selfish thing. And so people got to understand that I grew up in church, but I didn't just listen to church music. I was influenced by a lot of people, and not a lot of people, because my house wasn't filled with record collections on every wall. I had what I could have at my young self. I'd go to the store, buy records that was impacting me, and I would come home and learn them. I'd study the liner notes. Again, the credits, who did what. I want to know who wrote these lyrics. I want to know who did the background vocals, who did the hand claps, right? I want to know who played the synthesizer, the guitar. I want to know these things. That was important to me. Who produced it? How did these people meet? That was important to me. And so people influenced me throughout the years. And one particular person is Caron Wheeler. She's the lead singer of Soul to Soul. That group came out in the late 80s. I believe 88 is when we heard about them over here in the United States. That's when they started playing their record. And the first one that we heard was Keep On Moving. And then we heard Back to Life. But I think there was a different a different title for Back to Life. And that record, both of them, and her voice moved me. It moved me. And what I found out is why she moved me so much was her vocals, her writing, because she wrote the lyrics to both those songs. Again, I found a kindred spirit in her because her lyrics were, I felt the same kind as mine, or at least what I wanted to write and what I knew I was going to write someday. And her vocals matched my vocals as far as, we're those alto chicks, and we might be able to hit a high note here or there, but we're cool and smooth in that alto range. And there was something like spiritual about her. And then last 5 years or so, I just found out that the song Back to Life, she said in an interview that was a song she was really writing to God. Like, what now, God? Like, what do you want from me? And I thought that was profound because that song always for me was like tops, So I play around a lot, but sometimes I'm not playing. So the image on this right here of me is me kind of playing with ChatGPT. And I didn't really like the output, but I said, let's just use it. I'm not trying to make fun of Caron Wheeler. If you knew me back when this particular album of hers was released, that thing was on my play. We ain't have like download abilities then. It was cassette tapes or CDs. So I had the CD and I had the cassette tape, and I was playing it all day, every day. If you knew me then, you knew that Caron Wheeler was I looked up to her. I sung her songs along with her. And so this is my homage to her and to what she has done for me, and how I still go back to her songs when I'm trying to find my voice or build it up again. And the audio of me singing, it's not perfect, y'all. Nothing is. We get so caught up in trying to be perfect that we don't do anything. I haven't sung now in so many decades, right? I'm getting back to singing, and it's a challenge. It's like going to the gym after not going to the gym. It definitely is a muscle. Your vocal cords are muscles. That diaphragm, you gotta learn how to use the diaphragm. You gotta learn how to breathe. My voice be cracking and all of this stuff. You gotta learn how to be able to transition from one register to another. And I am learning like I'm trying to walk again. And it's not easy, but it's worth it. If that's what you're called to do, get up and do it. All right, woman of God, here we go.